Tony.
When architect Malcolm Taylor designed this Northland beach house, he wanted to provide its owners with a living experience that was quite different from their city life.
Malcolm, this is such a versatile and practical space. What influenced the concept?
Well, I think there's an archetypal concept that sprung from way back in Greek times. It's a courtyard house, and this house is basically focusing on the courtyard, which is the main social space. And then we have two sort of auxiliary buildings that form that courtyard and a big roof that sits over the top. That creates a lot of flexibility with the walls that can open and close around it, and also the roof light, which also can open and close.
These are a great feature. How do they withstand all the seasons?
Well, they're not entirely like monsoon-proof, but I mean, this space is effectively an outdoor courtyard. I mean, the house is something that the client's still learning to trim, if you're talking about a nautical term. So yeah, there's a lot that you can play with regards to this courtyard space.
And like the courtyard space itself, the modular furniture can also be constantly rearranged to suit the weather or even just your mood.
From the living area to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Wow, this has got a funky sort of city cafe feel.
Yeah, well, one of the notions that we wanted to, I suppose, replicate in this house was the floating island bench, which is kind of considered a bit like a cafe. And it's up on legs and it kind of looks like it's floating. It's got lights on the front panel, which is a bit of fun.
Interesting too that you haven't put the TV in the traditional space over there but tucked it away.
Yeah, well, that allowed us to organise the furniture at this end and focusing into the space. And that's kind of reinforced by the wall, which is actually a wrapping of the roof. So it's kind of like a bookend to the space.
I love how the mirror gives the room such depth.
Yeah, well, it was a point of contention there for a while with the client, but it's all about defining the end of the building, and I think it really is a great sort of finishing point for this particular area of the house.
If you can take all the love without giving any back, would you do it?
Oh, well, isn't this nice? Could definitely escape up here a few times in the day.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mum gets a pretty raw deal when it comes to holidays. There are, caterers and worrying about where the kids are and feeding them and all of that. So the client was specific about this room. It was about getting away from the main spaces, the mayhem that occurs down there, and this is kind of like their sanctuary, really.
If I was lying in the bath over here, I don't know if I'd ever go downstairs again. So what's your dream job then, your dream project? Is it clients with enthusiasm or is it big bucks?
Well, I think the big bucks thing is not a prerequisite to a good house. I think a client that's willing to give you a little bit of leg room will allow you to be a little bit creative with materials or even with the whole concept, the whole form of the building, moving beyond something that they've seen in a magazine, so to speak. We're constantly looking to create new ideas or push the limits, and it's, I suppose, a client that's willing to do that. And that doesn't necessarily mean money.
So what does this place look like at night?
Well, just like most houses with a lot of glass, it glows at night, and I mean, I think it does look like a jewel. This particular building, I think, does represent New Zealand in a lot of ways. It's about connecting with the outside, and with this house, it actually does that. I think that's what New Zealand architecture sort of strives to do.
Next week on House and Garden.